Hi guys, and welcome to another Decision Server Insights technical tutorial. In this edition, what I'd like to cover is a new feature of the DSI Toolbox utility. So the DSI Toolbox utility is a tool which can be downloaded from the internet web pages, which allows you to do various useful things relating to DSI. Now, the one that I want to talk about today is the notion that when we write DSI rules, they may choose to emit events. And if we emit an event, we can choose to emit that event over a TCP/IP HTTP connection. And if we're developing such a solution, the chances are extremely high that we want to examine the content of the emitted HTTP request. I think I added too many T's in that HTTP request, but we want to examine the content of the HTTP request so that when we deploy our solution, we know that the data we're transmitting is in fact the data we expect. So here, for example, is a simple business model definition which takes an event XYZ and defines another event, event 2, with PQR. And here is a simple Java agent which, when it receives event 1, populates an event 2 and then emits event 2. So in this rule, we receive one event, we publish another event. About as trivial a rule as it's possible to get. I've also defined a connectivity definition. This basically says that when an event 2 is published or emitted, then we wish to transmit that event over an HTTP request to this machine at this port number. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. But if I was to run this solution, how would we know that the data arriving at this endpoint is in fact the correct data? Well, there's a number of great tools on the internet, things like SOAP UI and Mocky, which provide pretty good endpoints for transmitting REST requests. However, as great as those tools are and as super rich in function as they are, you need to install them, you need to configure them, you need to study them, you need to set them up, you need to run them, and then you need to send in your requests and examine them. And that's some work. I mean, it's not a heck of a lot of work, but it's some work. And we wondered if there wasn't going to be an easier way. So let's look at the Decision Server Insights Toolbox tool. Now it has an option here called HTTP. And in HTTP tab, we can specify a port number on the local machine, and we can click the Start button, and now we're starting to listen for incoming HTTP requests. If I now send an event to DSI, hit the Submit button, I've now sent an event. If I look at the HTTP tab, we get a record that an incoming HTTP request to this tool from DSI was received. If I click on the particular HTTP request received, we see its date, we see what the command it was, we see the URI that was used by the transmitter, we see the HTTP headers, which may or may not be useful to you, and importantly, we see the body of the message. So if I send in a new message and change, for example, hello world, isn't that always the way? And I now hit the Submit button again. We go over to the HTTP tab. We see we have a new entry at 0821, which is now. Click on that entry, and we see that hello world was transmitted. Again, this is just a one new feature in the DSI Toolbox. But I think it's going to be somewhat useful for those of us who are developing solutions where we wish to transmit HTTP emitted events outbound from the DSI solution. And that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you. So I hope you've enjoyed this little mini technical tutorial, and I hope you find the tool useful. Looking forward to producing more of these videos. Thanks now. Bye-bye.